Black women, I want better for us. I feel like it's time to rewrite our stories and tell it the way that it needs to be told, that love can be kind. Hey y'all, I'm Ebony. Welcome back. Hope y'all are doing okay today. So today we're doing another sit down video, and I wanted to talk to y'all about Married at First Sight, and specifically the relationship dynamic between Chris and Paige, one of the two Black couples on the show. So I have some notes to the side of me, so if I'm looking off often, it's because I'm looking at my notes. I want to stay on track, make sure I'm not rambling too much in this video. And I do want to preface this by saying, of course, I'm not going to be able to recap everything that happened this season so far. It's just too much. Each episode is like 2 hours long or something like that. I don't have enough time to do it that way, so I'm just recapping moments that I feel are of importance to tell Chris and Paige's story so far. And hopefully we can start a little discussion and see where this takes us. So if you're interested in watching, please stay tuned. Okay, so Married at First Sight is a show that comes on Lifetime, and it documents 5 couples who are married at first sight. This is their first time seeing each other ever, meeting each other ever in most cases, and they are literally, strangers all the way up until they get to the altar. So they're all paired together by expert matchmakers. There's 3 of them, 3 matchmakers, and basically there's criteria and questions that these individuals that they answer prior to joining this program and being selected. They'll answer these questions, and the matchmakers use those questions and those answers to pair them together, and this is all for them to find their perfect match. So the couples, they have 8 weeks to live together and act as a married couple, and this is a legal union. And at the end of the 8 weeks, they decide whether or not they want to remain married or get a divorce. So this season, we're introduced to, one of the couples we're introduced to, they are Chris and Paige. Paige is 26, Paige is an accountant, and I believe she mentioned something about real estate. Paige, she owns a home, and she seems to be doing pretty well for herself. Chris, he is 27. He's a finance manager and an entrepreneur. And both of them, they're God-fearing. They seem family-oriented, want big families. They want kids, like it seems like almost immediately. They seem to both be doing well off, and seems career driven, and both of them seem successful. It seems like it could be a match made in heaven, right? Wrong, because if I was right, we would not be doing this video. So before we continue, please, if this is your first time here, take a look around, check out some of my other videos, and if you feel so inclined, please do subscribe, and please leave a like for this video. And without further ado, let's get back into the storytelling. So these two on wedding day, obviously they have never seen each other before. They're getting married at first sight. So as Paige is walking, down the altar, Chris says, "Oh shit." Now I know I'm not the only one that noticed that because they replayed it. So he says, "Oh shit," and I could tell his immediate reaction wasn't a positive one. He didn't seem too, fond of her at that moment. He just seemed like he was going through the motions during the actual ceremony, I guess, just to, do it. It didn't seem to me like he was really feeling it like that. And you can tell that Paige kind of caught that vibe. You could just tell that there was some kind of disconnect there. So the officiant says at the end, obviously, you can kiss your bride. And it was this cringy moment where he's like, "So you want me to kiss you? Can I kiss you? You want me to kiss you?" And I just thought that was cringy. I felt like right there, that was enough indication of where things were going. But then again, this is a unique situation. They are strangers to one another, so maybe he was just trying to, get her consent and see where she was coming from at that moment, see if she was comfortable with the kiss, because although that is normal within a wedding ceremony, their situation is unique in that they don't know each other. So I see 2 sides to that. So after the ceremony, he tells her, they have a chance to talk, and he tells her that he was previously engaged. So just to give you guys a time frame of what that looks like, this show was filmed in 2020. He met his ex-fiance in the latter part of 2019, got engaged a couple months after they met, and then broke off the engagement a couple months after that. So it was literally one thing after the next, and then he jumps onto this show. So to me, that was already a red flag. But what Paige decided to do was just, see what happened with things and see where things went with the two of them. And I kind of don't blame her for that, because what's done is already done. They're already legally married. So I mean, at that point, what else can you do? So the next day, he tells Paige that she is not someone that he is normally attracted to. Now, I just want to let y'all know a bit of important information. These two had sex twice. Once on the night of the wedding, and then once the next morning. So he's not attracted to her, but he definitely is willing to have sex with her. So I just want y'all to make a mental note of that. We see a lot of different red flags throughout these episodes, and this is just one example of Chris just being an intolerable human being. So
on paper, like, we are like you're everything that I need, but I don't think that the attraction is fully there yet for me, to be perfectly honest.
Later, Chris tells Paige that he did make that decision to have sex with her because he thought that it would help him to feel closer to her and more connected to her. So he thought that, maybe if I do this, I'll feel that level of intimacy that I feel like I should have with my spouse, but obviously that was not the case. So yet again, Paige expresses that she wants to continue working on this. She mentioned that she feels like this was destined by God. Like I said, these two, they're very spiritual and, God-fearing people. So we hear Paige reference this being destined and referencing that this was God's will a lot throughout these episodes, and I think that hurts her more than helps her, if anything, because she's feeling like she needs to stay in this situation because these are her beliefs, and this is something that they follow. But in my opinion, I don't see it benefiting her, but we'll get to that at the end. So the couple, they all go to Vegas for their honeymoons, and this is the first time that we get to see the other couples interact with each other. And one of the other couples did actually mention that they did see a disconnect between Paige and Chris. They felt like something was off about the chemistry, and I mean, that's to be expected. By this time, I think they were only married for 2 days, so I mean, it is kind of weird having someone you're calling your spouse and you literally don't even know them, and you're on a honeymoon now. But I just pointed that out to say that this chemistry or lack thereof is pretty evident even from those on the outside looking in. So one of the days that they're in Vegas, they're eating breakfast. Chris and Paige are eating breakfast, and you can tell Chris, something about his energy is off. I think the night prior to this, Chris and Paige, they had a talk, and they were able to get, they felt like they were off to a good foot, and then off on a good foot, and then Paige, she feels the shift in his energy, and he basically tells her that he has some disturbing news to tell her. He kept saying disturbing news. Yeah, I got some pretty disturbing news. And she's like, what's going on? Like, if something's gonna be affecting our marriage, you need to tell me. He didn't want to tell her.
What?
It doesn't matter.
What?
Eventually, it comes out, he finally spits it out and tells her that his ex-fiance is pregnant.
I just found out she's pregnant. Right.
And I'll give y'all a second to guess how far along she is. I'll give y'all a second. 6 weeks. 6 weeks. So that means that they had sex during this process, which we later learn from one of the following episodes, that they would have had to have sex during this process of them doing everything. So I just wanted to put that out there. Before we get any further, I do just want to ask y'all, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Subscribing is free, liking the video is free. I know it's easy to forget, but that's why it's my duty to remind y'all. This helps me out in the end, so hopefully you are liking and you will hit that like button. Thanks, boos. All right, so I know I'm skipping ahead, but like I said, I can't recap everything. So it's their final day in Vegas, and Paige and Chris, they're packing, and she just wants to check in with him, see how he's feeling about everything, if he's thought more about the baby situation, how he's feeling about that. She just want to check in with him, see where his head's at, right? So somehow they get on the topic of whether or not they discuss like what parenting will look like, and if the thought has crossed his mind as to whether or not he wants to get back with his ex. This man sits in her face and tells her that not only has he thought about getting back with his ex, but they've also talked about the possibility of them getting back together. Him and his ex, they talked about it. His excuse is that he does not want another man taking care of his child. So I guess co-parenting and existing as parents outside of an intimate relationship is not possible. I just want to put that out there. And to add insult to injury, this man tells her that he's still in love with his ex. Now, I'm shocked that Paige didn't get up with her suitcases in hand at that moment and hop on the next flight, next thing smoking, because I couldn't believe the audacity. I couldn't believe it. So obviously Paige is confused, because just a couple nights ago when they were at dinner, he tells her that as his wife, Paige, she will come first. She comes before everybody. She comes before that baby. Sorry, the baby. She comes before his mom. She comes before everybody. And now she's confused because she's like, wait, you just told me that we're gonna try to work this thing out. I'm gonna be first. And now you're telling me you want to get back with your ex for the sake of the baby. Y'all. Then somehow Chris manages to gaslight her and turn this conversation around, do some play on words and say, well, he never said he was getting back with her. He just talked to her about what parenting would and wouldn't look like. So all the couples return to ATL. That's where they all live. The couples, they are all placed into like a temporary apartment for a couple of weeks until they actually move into one or the other's house or wherever they plan to move permanently. But they're placed into a temporary apartment. All of the couples live inside the same apartment complex. They have different apartments within that apartment complex. So Chris and Paige should have been moving in together that day, but Chris decided to, I think he needed some time, so he did not come back to the apartment. It was just Paige by herself at the apartment. One night, Chris comes back to the apartment to talk to Paige after he's had time to clear his head, and he tells Paige that he wants to get back with his ex and he wants a divorce. Like I told you, this is a legal union between the two of them. This man wants a divorce, and to add the cherry on top, he has already spoken to a divorce attorney, he says. Y'all, I wish I could make this up. This, like, who? All right. So occasionally, one of the experts will come to the apartment and check in on the couples, talk to them, see where they're at with everything, where their head's at, and just, you know, see if they can work through some of their issues and things like that. On this episode, Pastor Cal, he went and spoke to the different couples. And of course, because Chris was not there, he was only speaking to Paige by herself. So Paige, she catches him up about, you know, the series of events and just, you know, tells him everything that happened. And while they're talking, guess who walks in? You guessed it, it was Chris. So he has a smirk on his face, and you can just tell, like, this does not mean anything to him. He's taking it as a joke. I mean, like, y'all should have seen just the way he comes in there, like, no regard for this woman's feelings. So with Pastor Cal, he does confirm that he wants a divorce. I'm surprised that he didn't switch it up right there, because he loves to do this play on words type of thing, and you know, just jumble up words and their meanings and stuff like that. So he did confirm with Pastor Cal that he wants a divorce and he wants to get back with his ex, and that he just wants them to separate and move on.
I feel like this was the right decision for myself and Paige. But
What was the right decision?
To divorce.
To divorce.
Pastor Cal leaves, extends his, you know, thoughts and, you know, well wishes to each of them as they figure out what they're gonna do next and stuff like that. And Chris, he tells Paige that he hopes she's not mad at him, and that he doesn't want her to be mad, and he just thinks it's the best, and blah blah blah. And he gives her a hug, like while they're sitting down, and whispers in her ear. And a lot of times throughout the season, Chris, he does things like that because he doesn't want the production or, you know, camera people, the mics to pick up on what he's saying. And he's just a sneaky individual. But he whispers in her ear, and Paige tells us, the viewers and production, in her confessional, that he tells her that he's just scared to fall in love with her.
Chris is whispering that his fear is falling in love with me.
Y'all, I'm not trying to laugh, but I cannot believe this master manipulator. Like, and Paige just sucks it up every time. Every time Paige she just seems so thankful and so happy and so honored and so taken aback by his compliments, or his, you know, the way he's trying to express his love to her. It's like, or not even love, because this guy doesn't have respect for her, but it's just, it's baffling to watch it. It's baffling. It's baffling. So next week, Chris decides he wants to have a sit down, and in this sit down, he brings Paige and his ex-fiance together to talk things out, as if Paige has anything she needs to say to this ex-fiance. In my book, it wouldn't have been nothing to talk about. I would have been home. I would have gave these producers, the production, Dr. Cal, what is his name, Pastor Cal, I would have gave them, here's the keys, here's the microphone. Thank you for your time. I had a great experience. It was an eye-opener. And yeah, I will happily get a divorce and sign those papers. Happily. Thank you. Thanks. All right, so now y'all have the backstory. Like I said, I could not recap every single thing that has happened. This show was long, and there's already been quite a few episodes, so that's just the things that I find are important to tell this story. So now, since y'all have the backstory, I like to share my thoughts and opinion. But before we get into that, I do want to remind y'all once again to subscribe and like the video if you are liking this storytelling so far, and if you're liking this discussion. I want to start this conversation with defining narcissist. And I am by no means a psychologist. I am by no means a person who studies the mind, the brain, nothing like that. I took one psychology class in college, one. So I am not equipped to diagnose anyone, but I felt like this definition and this word resonated with me. So I just wanted y'all to get that as well, okay? The Mayo Clinic defines a narcissist as a disorder in which a person has an inflated sense of importance. Narcissistic personality disorder is found more commonly in men. The cause is unknown, but likely involves a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Symptoms include an excessive need for admiration, disregard for others' feelings, an inability to handle any criticism, and a sense of entitlement. So me personally, I believe Chris is a narcissist. I don't think that he has any regard for anyone's feelings, especially not Paige's. I'm curious to know the demise. What was the reason for the demise of their last relationship, his last relationship? Because he does not seem like someone who should be in a committed relationship. He doesn't even seem like he wants to be in a committed relationship. This guy, from what we see, he jumped from one thing to the next. How do you go from an engagement to now marrying a stranger? I don't get that. I mean, granted, everyone moves the pace that they move within a relationship, and the time it takes for someone to get over something, it varies from person to person, but that doesn't seem like a good combination to me. Now, I can't, determine his intentions just from watching the show. I don't know what was on his mind when he decided to sign up for this process, but just from the looks of it and what they showed to us viewers, it doesn't look like he had pure intentions when coming on this show. To me, it looked like he may have just wanted the ghetto. To me, it looked like he may have just wanted, I don't know, to be on TV. Maybe he wanted to, get some notoriety, some fame. Whether or not he looks like the bad guy in this, I mean, it seems like it doesn't matter to him. Maybe he just wanted that, or maybe he just wanted to feel desired after he left his last relationship. I don't know what the purpose of him coming on this show was, but personally, I don't think that was a remedy to him leaving that last relationship. I think he needed to take some time to self-reflect and work on himself, as most of us do when we exit a serious relationship. From the start of the season, Chris has reminded us about 10 different times how successful and financially well-to-do he is. He's reminded us time and time again up into this ceremony that he wants a woman who's not going to use him for his money, take advantage of him, and he wants someone who is attractive. I don't know if I remember Chris ever focusing as much attention on a personality trait as much as he did the physical aspect.
But I'm afraid that she could possibly be unattractive. I have to have that initial attraction. That's important for me.
He made it known time and time again that he wanted someone who was attractive. But I think we only saw one discussion where him and his family sat down and talked about how he wanted someone who was spiritually connected as he is. But that was the end of that. He discussed it and left it alone. We had to hear about 10, 15 different times that he wanted someone who was attractive. But then when we look at him, you know what? I ain't gonna go into that, but I'm gonna just leave it at that, and y'all could catch my drift. I want to redirect this conversation to Paige because I'm really disappointed. I was really, really, really disappointed in Paige. And I do want to preface this by saying I know, again, that they are in a unique, weird, uncomfortable situation. They are marrying a person who they have never met before, they've never seen before. So I get it. And Paige, she seems very committed to the process. She is a God-fearing woman. She, took these vows. She wants to honor them, stick to them. We see Paige a lot mention, like I previously said, she mentions God and how this was, destined for her, and she mentions manifested a lot. And I can tell she wants to, do what she can to make this work. But when is enough enough? Like, the guy tells you he got a baby on the way. The guy tells you he's not attracted to you. The guy flips out in front of you with, the other cast members, what I didn't talk about. He flips out and gets all aggressive. The guy tells you he wants to get back with his ex. The guy tells you he wants a divorce. Yet you still fighting for this relationship? Why? I just don't get when Black women, specifically I'm speaking to us because I see this a lot within our community, When do we say enough is enough? When do we stop wearing this ride or die, I'm a strong black woman cape? Like, when do we stop? In one of the episodes, I don't remember who referred to Paige as a ride or die, or if she referred to herself as it, but my thing is, why do you have to go through this to prove that you are that? I think there's other ways to prove that. And you literally known this man for a week. Mind y'all, this all happened within, a span of like 10 days. What are you ride or dying for? You don't know this man. This man has not shown you that he is capable, that he is worthy of this level of affection and level of protection from you. Stop putting yourself on the line for someone who couldn't care any less about you. And black women, we gotta stop. We have to. I want to go back and mention another thing that I noticed about Chris. I noticed that he referred to Paige's shape quite a lot in this show. And Paige, she got a big old butt. Paige got a big old butt. She has a nice shape, but I hardly heard him compliment her, facial features. I hardly heard him compliment her personality traits. It always, yeah, you look nice in that. He told her, you gotta wear something that show that ass to the airport. For what? For what? You're married, sir. What does she gotta wear something like that for? For who? We constantly see Paige light up at these weird, meaningless compliments. At another time at the dinner, when they were eating dinner together back in Vegas, he told her, somehow, I don't remember how the conversation came about, but he remembered her middle name, and you could tell she was happy about that. And I'm like, Paige, it doesn't take any talent, any skill to remember someone's name. Paige, I know your name, Paige. That doesn't take. Now, granted, I'm not good with names myself, but I'm just saying, for a partner to remember your middle name, that's not miraculous. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be something that makes you say, well, you know what? I really feel like he's trying, and I just wanna give this a go and see what's happening here. Like, come on, Paige. I'm pretty sure you could find better and find someone who's gonna remember your middle name and treat you like you deserve to be treated. As I mentioned, Chris, he blew up on one of the other couples because he felt like they were prying too much into him and Paige's business, specifically his business to do with the child. And while I understand where he was coming from, because I did feel like that couple was doing too much, he gets up to want to fight the couple, and fight the male.
Whatever you want to do, bro. Whatever you want to do.
We should be able to have a reasonable conversation.
Whatever you want to do, bro. I swear.
Dude, what do you...
And, cursing the woman out and all that stuff. And I'm like, it wasn't that serious. It could have been another way he handled that. But we see that he basically commends Paige for her reaction to, I guess, that situation and his outburst. And he commends her and just tells her at one point that he feels how much more spiritually connected he feels to her after, the chain of these events and whatnot. And you can tell how much that makes Paige happy to hear. And I'm like, Paige, you can do better. Like, I feel like Paige, what she does is excuse his behavior because she wants so badly to hold on to this struggling relationship and hold on to someone who is not reciprocating any type of effort she is putting into this thing. She wants so desperately to make it work for someone who clearly does not want that. And that's what makes me frustrated, because we the viewers can see that Paige is a catch, but for some reason she ain't seeing it for herself. And again, I want to go back and say, I understand that this is an unusual situation. They're literally married. So at this point, you may try to tolerate something, put up with something, and, you know, see if it can work a little more because you're married. I get that, but you don't even know this fool. Like, y'all don't know each other. So sis, cut them strings off. Like, let that situation be done. You deserve better, girl. And this conversation is way larger than Chris and Paige. This conversation, like I said, in my opinion, I directed at our Black community, and I feel like Black women are so conditioned to hold down these men and just be able to withstand any and every type of mistreatment and anything that happens just to prove that we, you know, are capable of being loved, and that we have to jump through so many leaps and bounds for someone to finally love us. And that is not, that shouldn't be the case, because we don't require this much out of the men in these situations. But why is it expected and demanded from us? That's not fair, and it hurts my heart to see, because like I said, we can see all of these amazing qualities in Paige, and for some reason she allows this mistreatment from him. No. I know it is easy for me to say, because I'm literally just a viewer, what I would do if I was in Paige's shoes. And I understand, like I said, that she's in a marriage, so there's just, she's maybe trying a little harder than she would had she been in a normal, you know, relationship, trying to, you know, date and figure this man out. I think that this should be a cautionary tale to women, particularly younger women. And this should be, you know, a warning, like, ladies, love does not look like this. Ladies, you do not have to struggle and beg and plead and put up with anything to find a man who is deserving of you, who is deserving of your love and your affection. If he does not want to reciprocate it, it's time to move on and find someone who does. Relationships will have problems. Every relationship has problems, small and large. And, you know, for the right person, those problems can be, you know, worked on and fixed. But that will take someone who also wants to do the work and work on that with you. And we can't bear the burden of that on our own. Like I said, this conversation is larger than Chris and Paige, but, you know, there's many women of all different shades, all different colors, who are going through the same thing, and men too, because there's women out there. Every woman ain't good, every man ain't bad. There's women out there who are downright wrong and dirty too. So this can apply to many people, regardless of race and gender. But like I said, I see it often in my community, so I wanted to speak to us. We need to normalize putting ourselves first and taking some time to do some reflection. As I mentioned in my B. Simone video, we need to prepare ourselves to love and be loved. And I'm not saying to groom yourself for the purpose of being in a relationship, but make sure that you are always giving the best version of yourself. And that's easier said than done, I know, but reflection can always happen at any given time. So when you have those moments and those times to reflect on who you are, who you want to be, who you want to be with, take that time and try to work on yourself and build yourself to be a better person, to, when you get in these relationships, to give yourself to someone and be fair about it, be kind about it. I just want to close this video by saying, Black women, I want better for us. I want us to be loved wholeheartedly, genuinely. I want love to be fun, to be kind. I want love to be self-love and the love of others. I want love to look like rainbows and sunshine, and if it can be like that every day, that would be amazing. But I understand that it's not like that every day. So most days, I pray for us to have that for most days, because I'm tired of seeing us struggle with love. I feel like it's time to rewrite our stories and tell it the way that it needs to be told, that love can be kind, that love can be reciprocated, and that love can come without these stipulations that you have to do X, Y, and Z to receive it, because that's not the way that it looks like. You don't have to bend over backwards to receive love. It's gonna come if that love is genuine. I want us to know that we do not have to beg for love, and that we don't have to tolerate this BS, especially when people like Chris ain't bringing nothing to the table except audacity, because that's all he got to offer, the audacity, nothing else. Women, men, anyone, it's okay to be single until you find someone deserving of you and yourself and your peace. Don't give that up for anyone. It's okay to be single. And again, I know that's easier said than done, and it does get lonely out there, but I think loneliness looks better than what we've seen. So with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video, and I hope y'all practice some self-love and kind love to someone this week, this month, this year, because y'all know we need it right now. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and until next time, y'all, peace.